Hello everybody, this is Fahad and today we are with none other than Mr. Kamran Rizvi Sahab. He's here, the king of leadership in Pakistan, we say him. And also, we're gonna today talk about the topic which is really close to my heart. It's leadership and how we can have that unstoppable mindset. What are the keys? What are the secrets? What are the actionable steps we can take so we can take that big step towards our life to become truly unstoppable? Thank you so much, sir, for giving us the time and being here on such a short notice. We're really humbled to have you here.
Thank you for having me, young man. I was wondering whether you were a jinn or a human.
So, what is the exact definition of jinn in the English? It would be like a ghost? Holy Spirit?
No. An invisible force which is highly energetic, electrifying, and everywhere at all times.
So, that's a testimonial. We will use this after. Electrifying soul, which is invisible and who has unstoppable energy, something like that.
Something of that sort. Yes.
So we've been here trying to set up a few things, and we are down a couple people, so we had to do technology ourselves. And he's just watching. He's like, I'm fascinated with all these things you're working on. I said, you know what, we have to be talented to understand some technology. So thank you again. And one thing, you're the expert in leadership. Sometimes you have to lead from the front. You have to teach the team because a lot of things we use are not very much trained here.
Sure.
So on to you, sir. So you've been in leadership for so long. What we want to have from you is some of the golden nuggets. What are the keys, especially for youth? Because everybody talks about leadership.
Yeah.
But I believe, I don't know if you agree with me, when we go to our traditional education, that's not where we learn the finest tools to be a good leader. What is leadership first in your perspective? And later we can go into dig deeper. What can they do? So what is leadership for you?
You know, leadership is a huge subject, and as you are very aware, Fahad, that there's so many books written on it. Millions, in fact. There's lots of research. And it's an ocean in which you can either drown or you can get from point A to B in a boat with focus.
Absolutely.
So, my 30 years of experience in the learning and development industry and also in the banking industry, where I started my career back in 1976 in Abu Dhabi. I was there for a year and then I went to London. I was based there with this bank 14 years. So 98 nationalities, 14,000 employees, 72 countries. So it had a huge presence. It was a private bank, the fastest growing in the world at that time.
Really? Wow.
And I was very fortunate to be working there, and the chairman, Agha Habdi, marhum, he died almost a decade ago. His vision is what introduced me to leadership.
Okay.
Because the man was truly unstoppable. For him, the world was round, and it was his playfield, his playground. And he used to speak of vision, he used to speak of humility, he used to speak of human connection at a time when these things were unheard of. Mystic. He was known as a mystic as well. I remember there was an article published in the Financial Times. This was back in 1978. And to have it on the cover of that, it stated, the man who adds mysticism to banking. No, I feel that mysticism is today becoming a very big reality with quantum physics and people talking about 3 dimensions and the 5th dimension living. He was speaking of all that then. And of course, it was very metaphoric, it was abstract, it was viewed to be very ethereal. But today, the tangibility of the abstract is becoming evident.
Absolutely. And you were very blessed, I would say, that you had a mentor or you could be around somebody who taught you where you could learn from this.
Oh, yes.
So today, a lot of younger people, they cannot access, even you're busy, you're 24 hours.
But let me come back, on leadership.
Yes.
You know, John Maxwell is another person that I really admire. He says that leadership is really a set of behaviors. And for me, taking a cue from whatever he has been saying and doing, I find that leadership is a lifestyle, essentially.
Absolutely.
And every individual in every sphere of life must exercise leadership. But then there is a flip side to it, that you can't be a good leader if you're not a good follower. Followership doesn't sell.
True.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be a follower. They just have this mindset.
How to become an effective follower? No one likes to hear themselves to be a follower. But the point is that the traditional paradigm suggests that I was a follower, now I'm a leader. Whereas in truth, a great leader is a great follower. True. And it's a parallel process and not sequential, number one. So it's a set of behaviors. It's a parallel process as being a good follower and a good leader. Now the question is, to be a good follower, do you follow your ego? Do you follow your others? Or do you follow your sets of values and principles? And if you are following your values and principles, and they're giving rise to a vision, then you're following your vision. So leadership is communicating what you saw to others in order to include them in that journey. So I find that humility is that central point of leadership where it's not you, it's the idea that's huge. And people become part of it and see that idea as belonging to them too.
Absolutely.
As opposed to working for someone, they're working with you for that idea.
And you mentioned one thing very important. You have to be a good follower because nobody sells followership, right?
Yes.
So maybe I think it's a good idea for somebody like you to have a book. Maybe a title could be as being a great leader, being a great follower to become ultimate leader. I think that could be a good seller.
Yeah. I mean, become a follower to be a leader.
True.
Is how I would put it.
True. And we just need to have that mindset that we need to learn, we need to follow,
Sure,
and develop ourselves because nobody is selling that. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I've never heard that. That's a good concept.
And the other interesting part is that leadership, in my view, has nothing to do with titles or positions. Titles don't make leaders. And
True.
leaders do not need titles. It's about influence, it's about accountability, it's about communicating, it's about caring, it's about, as you said, Fahad, giving.
Giving.
And giving what? What you have, of what you have. So I normally ask a question of my audiences. The question tends to be, what do you earn and where do you live? Very simple questions. And I don't want them to answer because, I mean, I don't know when you ask someone, what do you earn? It sounds as though you are invading their privacy. God knows what's wrong with earning. But still, this is how it is. It's a cultural taboo. So I say, don't answer the question. The answer is in your head. If your answer is numerical in the first question, and if the answer is locational in the second, then whatever you're doing, you're wasting your time. So they say, excuse me, then if I'm not earning money and if I'm not living somewhere, then what the hell am I doing? I say that, listen, your job is to earn goodwill. That's what you're doing. And your job is also to live in the hearts of people. Now, if you're not doing either of these two, whatever you're doing, you're wasting your time.
Actually, that's what I'm going to start using in the workshop. I'm going to start asking this question.
Why not?
What are you...
But hold on a second. This is being broadcast.
There we
So
go.
there people will have watched it and they will give you the patent answer and you will not get to the truth.
Well, you know what? At least not everybody will watch all of it. So people, again, the thing is, this could be a test. What is their retention?
Yes.
Because some people forget. But you know what? This is very important. What have you earned?
Yes.
That's a very important question.
Yes.
People need to answer that. And like you said, if it's a numerical or locational, it won't be then we are doing something wrong.
Yeah.
So,
and again, if I may continue with the leadership principle, and in the corporate world and in the world that we live in, money, 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 money. You know, and there was a song, money makes the world go round. Absolutely. And then I say to people, are we in a rat race? And what do you hear? Yes, we are in a rat race. So I say, well, in a rat race, whether you win or lose, you remain a rat. Now, I'm sorry, I don't want to be a rat in life. Okay, so that's an idea which I put across. And then I say that, look, when I say this, it doesn't mean that I have no regard for money. Money is an important element in nature, just like shit is very important. If you don't shit, you're going to die. Now, I don't talk about shit, and I don't pride myself for how many kgs I shot. But it's important.
It is.
It's a sign of health.
Exactly.
But I don't pride myself for the quantity.
Just to add that, sir, you talk about money, how people are always talking about it, and we judge, like maybe he's a successful business because of money.
Yes.
The one thing is, I was in one of the workshops I was doing, and somebody asked a question, what is money? And I don't know, I heard it, it was my programming into my mind. I took a pause, and my response was, money, it's just a magnifying glass.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? What do you mean it's a magnifying glass? Like, if you're a jerk with little money, you'll be a bigger jerk when you have a lot. If you're a giver, if you go out, if you have, let's say, if I have like 1,000 rupees or $10 in my pocket, if I'm not going to give $1 away, when I have $1 million, what are the chances that I'm going to give $100,000 away? It just magnifies who you are. And people are like, look at it. If you were a cheap guy with a little money, when you have a lot, you're like, mera money, mine, you don't want to get out. Somebody's going to take it. You're always thinking about it.
Sure.
So basically, the money is nothing more than just a magnifying who we really are. And we just focus so much on that. And people are just like a rat race, right? You're at the end of the day, either you win or lose.
Listen, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, and I'm glad you are talking around leadership. Leadership is about relationships. Not just relationships with others, it's relationships with yourself and also relationship with nature and relationship with money and also relationship with technology. Because we are in a digital age.
Absolutely.
And when I see all these gizmos that you've set up, it tells me how important technology is in order to reach out to people and connect with them.
Absolutely.
The point here is, how do we define those relationships? I mean, for instance, I have a relationship with money. I live in a place, I pay rent, I pay the electricity bills, my God, inflation. But the point is money a slave or is it my master? That is the point.
True.
Even slaves have a set of rights, okay? So you want to treat money with respect, but position it as a slave. It must do your bidding rather than you being chasing it. It needs to be chasing you. That is the relationship part. So if money is your slave, you're okay. If money is your master, you're doomed. The second part, technology. If technology is your master, you're done. If technology is your slave, you are liberated. And I have found that technology has, I mean, look at young people today with devices. They've been hijacked. I mean, they don't have any sense of priority anymore. They're looking to notifications, number of likes, and all of those things. Their self-esteem is going down. They're getting into the world of comparison. And they're losing a sense of themselves. And this is highly dangerous.
And there is a very good one, the point you're talking about. On Netflix, a lot of people knows about Netflix. So if you're watching this, there's a small short film. It's called Social Dilemma. This is the one which I would recommend, exactly what you talk about, how social media and technology. And even in my talks, I say, don't be consumed by the technology. It's a good slave. But if it controls you, what happens? A small test, which I've been asking even in the workshops, is take out your phones, go to accessibility, usually it has an option, screen time. Just look at your last week's screen time. What is the number one thing? And for most people, it's either Facebook or it's either and Instagram. Might be some people WhatsApp. For me, it's WhatsApp, but because I spend a lot of time calling on WhatsApp, so that could be for me. But are you just sending text, or where are you spending time? And we all, as a marketeer, we are dying to get your attention. That's a disruption we are after. And now we're going to do, before it was like 20 impressions, 15 impressions, and you will buy something. Now I have to send thousands to get your attention because everybody's sending that, right?
Sure.
So very good thing you have mentioned about.
There's a flood out there.
There's a flood, and we need to be more aware of it.
And I also would like to emphasize in leadership in this noisy world. I mean, go back to the time of Socrates, 2,500 years ago. Quiet, natural, reflective, observation, experience, and see how much knowledge came out of that. Today, we are drowned with so much knowledge and information that the skill we need now is not so much learning new things. It's about filtering. I mean, there's information and there's misinformation. That's always been the case. I mean, there are liars and there are honest people. That's okay. But the point is, how do you filter nonsense from sense, number one? That's a key skill for leaders. Because unless you, as a leader, can do that, how can you bring your constituents into sanity, into something that means significance and can achieve impact, that wins hearts and achieves goals?
Any suggestion you can give how people can filter the nonsense from sense?
It's exactly what you said, Fahad, at the start of this interview. Values. You need to be very clear about your values. And it's again something that you said, Date with Destiny, you were quoting Anthony Robbins. It's reprogramming yourself. It's like COVID, ever since it came, we're talking of a global reset.
Absolutely.
We need to go for a complete reset because we are conditioned morons. And let me say this to you. When I ask people, what is your total experience? They give me 15 years, 5 years, 3 years. I said, you don't look 3 years old. How come? I asked you for total experience. So what is happening? People are counting experience as the time from when they started working. What about from birth? I asked for total means I want your age. If you are not conscious of the influences that you have had since birth to this point, you don't even know what you're doing. You are a zombie. Because, Muslims who were born in this country, for example, I asked them, who, when you were born, called the adhan in your ear? Someone says my dad, someone says my uncle, someone says I don't recall. I said, but hold on a second, were you asked? Was permission taken from you? No. So a person born in a Hindu home, a person born in a Christian home, a person born in a Jewish home, a person born in an atheist, an agnostic's home, or a Muslim home, what's the fault of the child? The child was innocent. The child has been conditioned. And I'm fascinated by the fact that humanity is one ocean of beauty with a lot of diversity.
True.
And at the same time, we are warring with each other, we are fighting with each other, we are in a state of rivalry somehow. Cultural clashes are going on. It's all driven by programming, conditioning, which happens from childhood. And innocently, I'm not blaming any parent. I think when I went to London, for example, and I had to run a session on intercultural leadership, community leadership, and there was a mixed group of genders as well as ethnicities and religious backgrounds. So I was saying to myself, I'm a Pakistani, I'm a British national, I'm a Muslim. How will they receive me? And this was in 2002. And the paradigm and the perception about Muslims and British was a bit, And I'm there talking about community leadership and intercultural harmony, from Pakistan. So I introduced myself. I was in a state of confusion as to how do I present myself to the audience so that they accept me. And alhamdulillah, something happened. And the morning when I started, I greeted them, Assalamu alaikum, very happy to be with you. My brief introduction is that I'm the son of my mother, like you are sons and daughters of your mothers.
True.
And I don't believe there's any doubt in that. And I'm sure your parents never taught you to hate, they taught you to love. And I'm only here to rediscover that. And that's about it. What makes us common, what brings us to a common ground is our origin.
True.
Other than Adam, we're all children of our mothers and our parents.
Absolutely.
And that's what unifies us. Now let's look at the humanity that we carry. And every difference that we have, that is a natural difference which allows us to appreciate each other. If we were all the same, life would become zero, meaningless. It is the difference that stimulates us, that brings creativity. Sir Ken Robinson, who died, I mean, his mission in life was to induct creativity in education. And what has education, the system of education done, is turned into a factory that serves the corporate world. Independent thinking, creative thinking is what is needed the most. But then people are oblivious. I mean, self-awareness should be on the agenda, in the curriculum. Who are you? Why were you born? What is your purpose in life? What is your voice to this world?
I wish we can ask these kind of questions in our education system.
Yes.
It should be part of it. And sorry to interrupt, you were mentioning earlier about conditioning, and I was holding this thought because we are just what we've been taught by the age of 8 and 9. We have been programmed, but we never upgrade our software because this computer we have, we are trying to run Windows, not even Windows, like a DOS on it, and trying to run a high-end graphic or game. It will not work. It's going to crash because it's never been updated. So one thing you were mentioning, we are always, especially in our culture, I think it's more in our Pakistani East Indian culture, that kid, since the childhood, they've been taught to win. Get a good grade, be the perfect student, dress like this, be this. You're always teaching them how to win.
Yeah.
But nobody teaches them how to lose.
Yeah.
But I believe, and I started applying this, that it's okay to ask the kid, hey, what did you fail at today? What did you fail this weekend? There's nothing wrong because the acceptance. Because when that child becomes 20-year-old or 18, first time they get into the real world, they face failure. They have no idea how to handle it.
True.
They crumble.
True.
Because
some commit suicide.
And even we are giving awards to people just for participation.
Yeah.
Why? You just showed up. Dude, you didn't earn that. That's where the whole flaw is. And I don't know what's your perspective on it, but I strongly encourage, kids, they should be taught how to fail. And ask, hey, what have you failed at? It's okay to fail.
I would not just talk of failure. I would say that life is really a series of ups and downs. And life is, I've never seen anyone's life to be this way. No one's life has been a straight gradient. It is an up and down. And when you go to a hospital and you see a patient and there's the device which is showing the heart beat, this is life. When it goes flatline, the guy is dead. And if we educate, if our core curriculum was living, the word living and leading, you would be talking about everything, like learning and learning from experiences. What we know teaches us the most is our setbacks, is our failures. Success can often blind you and turn you into a megalomaniac. It can. And although we can learn from success, because you can learn from any experience, reflection is the key. But the whole idea is you are not any better than the other. You're not worse than the other. You're different. And celebrate your difference. Be aware of your uniqueness. This comparison that I'm number one. Look at the way we have divided the world. We have the developed world. We have the developing world. We have the underdeveloped world. What disrespect is that? Who sets the tone? For example, if I said to you that I have learned everything I could have learned, haven't I put a full stop on my life?
Absolutely.
And am I not now going down? How can educated people term themselves as developed? Isn't that the beginning of the decline?
It is.
Now, this is what fascinates me. Life is a verb. It's movement, it's action. It's not about having arrived. You never arrive. Someone asked me, when does your mission get accomplished? In the grave. You just keep going. Your mission is eternal. And it doesn't end because whatever your legacy is continues in the hands of others. And we are eternal beings. We are not finite beings, I laugh at the fact when people say, I'm going to shoot you. I say, oh, please do. I was looking for freedom anyway. No one dies. No one ends. It is a fallacy of the head. Eternal beings, we came from somewhere, we go back to where we came from. And we are freed from all the hassle that we face here. The point is, Eternal means we are spiritual beings having a human experience. Dr. Wayne Dyer, if you remember, he passed away. He said this so beautifully. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We're not flirting with spirit. We are the spirit. And a fundamental question on leadership again comes, do you control your mind? Ask this question. Or does your mind control you? And you often hear, but me, I control my mind. I said, but who are you? But my mind is me. So I said, okay. So, 45 years of age, and you're still not reconciled with who's controlling who, right? So what's going on here? Majority is in that state.
Yeah, the mind is controlling you.
And I'll tell you, mind is going to take you into cul-de-sacs.
True. It's a survival mind.
It's going to take you into blind alleys. Mind is going to create fear in you. Mind is going to dump you into a ditch. It's going to give you huge stresses and complexes. If you don't control your mind, it's going to ruin you. It's going to finish you. It's going to make you delusional, megalomaniacs, egos. This is all the manufacture of the mind. Unless you make it your slave. You can't enslave your mind if you are not a spiritual being.
There's a very famous quote, very similar to the money we were talking about. Mind is a terrible master, but a beautiful slave.
Yes.
Don't let the mind control you, because if it does,
you're done.
You're screwed. You're done.
You're
because
done.
Because the mind is designed to protect us,
Yes.
to survive. And anytime, one of the examples I talk in all my workshops, they say, oh, cold shower motivational speaker. In Pakistan, like thande pani wala motivational speaker. I've been taking cold showers for the last almost 3 years since I discovered that, and I love this guy, Wim Hoffman, the Iceman. This guy in shorts climbed Mount Everest. He's a crazy.
My nephew, Adil Umar, he's a rapper, and he takes ice baths twice a week.
And the reason I do it,
he gets a reset, and he feels fantastic.
That's the main reason. You feel fresh. But I do this for 2 reasons. First time, it's good for my health. I feel the blood gonna flow. In Canada, it's damn cold anyways.
Yes.
But the second you try to go change that knob or jump into the ice cold water, the mind will say, Fahad, not today, because COVID is outside.
Yes.
Is this happening? It's hypothermia. It will happen, or it's minus.
Fear.
It's giving to protect us. That's why we don't let it do. So for me, one of my programming is, the reason I do it is, I'm in charge. When I say go, you go. When I say walk on that fire, is that you don't negotiate with the mind. Because if you start negotiating, you are going to lose the battle.
You tell.
So that's one of the programming which I have done. I'm like, okay, you're done. Boom. It's true. Every day I still get this thought. Not today. And I'm like, okay, this is the mind is calling. So that's one of the ways. One thing I want to ask you were talking about reset earlier. Some of the rituals or habits are something you have added into your life, which helps you to reset to who you are, to connect to your core. What would those be?
Our behaviors come from our emotions.
Okay.
What we feel is what leads to how we behave. Tears in my eyes, or an excited expression, or whatever. It's an emotion. Where does that come from? My thoughts. My thoughts have paradigms, beliefs. Paradigm is really the key word for me. Why? Because it gives meaning to whatever is happening. We interpret situations, and those interpretations give meanings. Those meanings give rise to emotions, and our behavior follows from there. Now, reset your paradigm, and you are on a winner. So I'll give you my example, that back in 1994, April, I remember this, I deliberately commanded myself that there is no bad news. There is no bad news. And subtext, except the one that I create for myself. Since then, there has been no bad news. Because every event, I'm interpreting that in a light which is positive. And you know why? The best part about leadership is, no matter how dire a situation is, you just don't have a right as a leader to depress the other.
True.
You can't turn people into fearful buddies. You have to tell them, hey, listen, no matter how big the challenge, we can take it on. There are ways of dealing with it. We can use our creativity. It's not the end of the world. Would you rather fight for freedom or die a slave? What would you want to do?
Freedom!
Yes, Braveheart.
Yes.
Now that dialogue is remarkable. I mean, we're not going to be around forever anyway.
True.
And someone said to me, oh, he's such a hero, you know, he gave his life for a cause. I said, he's the lucky one. He's the lucky one. Those who just wither away and are forgotten are the ones who missed out. They may have lived 120 years, but what did their life mean to the world, to the others around them, to the environment in which they were? What legacy have they left?
What are you leaving behind?
Yeah, so I love people who die young but have done something. Look at Che Guevara. I mean, he's still remembered. He died young.
And I think everything what you're talking, people need to understand the questions we are asking to ourselves.
Yeah.
Are we asking a shitty question, or are we asking a quality questions? Like, what am I going to leave behind? Like for me, when I talk about that giving, we were talking earlier before we started recording, and that's just a good quality question. What is your purpose of existence? Is it just to go out, make money, have nice cars, get a private jet?
And this is where Ikigai
or
comes
is it
in.
more?
Every time you use the word purpose, Ikigai comes into
The Japanese.
Yeah, Ikigai. And there are just 4 questions which leads to the purpose. And I just for the benefit
What are the
of
4
audience,
things?
You know, the first question is, what are you great at?
What are you great at?
You know, vital to be aware of, okay, I have lots of skills, but what am I really good at? Second, what do I love doing? That's crucial because, you know, when you love doing, you're in a state of flow and you don't even sense the time passing. You just get into it. The third is, does the world need what you love doing? And the fourth is, are you paid for it? Now, these are the 4 questions.
Okay.
When you combine the answers to 1 and 2, which is great at and love doing, that's passion. Passion is not just woo. Passion has a lot of substance to it. There's greatness in it, in what you do, and you love doing it. So that's passion. Then, when you take your love doing with the world needs it, that's your mission.
Mission.
You know, imagine, I mean, I work, my profession is my mission. I love it. The world needs it, you're paid for it. That's your vocation. So you now know what track you're on. I mean, are you in landscape designing, or are you in catering, or are you in IT, or whatever vocation you've chosen. But you're still on a track like so many others are in that track. So you're paid for it and you're great at it. That's your profession.
So 4 things. What am I great at? What do I love doing?
Yeah.
Does the world needs it?
Yeah.
And are you paid for it?
Yes.
So these 4 things, very important questions. Write it down. We'll have it at the ticker right there so you can read it.
And then, of course, when you combine the answers, when you add up passion, mission, vocation, and profession, you get purpose.
There we go. So we have a purpose formula. And earlier you were talking about another thing, which I talk a lot about it, where you were talking about thoughts, meaning, emotions. I spend usually minimum 30 to 40 minutes in a 3-hour workshop, at least on this topic. And usually people ask, what is the quality of life? That's usually, I name it a quality of life formula. So the only thing we have control on is our thoughts. This brain we have, what kind of invisible waves we're going to let them in? Is it the ones which are controlled by my phone, or is it something more creative? And then these thoughts goes into our processor, bing, 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 it brings, and it right away attach a meaning to it.
But this is where I feel that beliefs, if we were
Controls
to...
them.
Yeah, if we look at beliefs themselves, I mean, they are the operating system. And unless we go back to our beliefs and ask ourselves, why do I believe what I believe, and make changes there, our behaviors won't change. The real change happens when you question your beliefs themselves about other people, about life, about yourself, about the future. Those beliefs, and it is your capacity to consciously go there and rewire yourself and reprogram yourself. You have that capability. Joe Dispenza talks about that a lot.
He has that. I think with Mindvalley, I think they talk about a lot about rewiring the brain. I forgot the name. I think Be Extraordinary or something like that. That's where they talk quite a bit about it. And I don't know if anybody is doing that in Pakistan. Because I've been to some workshops. Very rarely I've probably gone into somewhere somebody really talks about how to identify our beliefs, how to identify where the values are coming from. What do I believe? Why do I believe? What do I need to believe?
Yeah.
I'm not telling, you're not telling what to believe. They need to know what they believe in.
And this is why I feel that, we must recognize when we are reacting, and we must recognize when we are responding. Response is a conscious, deliberate choice that you're making in a given situation. Reaction is an unconscious behavior. You react when something happens, and you say, oh God, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. Consciousness is 5% of our being. Unconsciousness, 95%. That's what I've come to realize. And when I find myself reacting, I'm messing up. But when I hold myself back, there's an urge to do something, and I say, no, hold on. Does this occasion demand this behavior? No, it doesn't. That's taking control. And that 5% can dominate the 95, provided it's alive and conscious. So consciousness is critical. We need to remain conscious. When we numb this, look, we're doing something, all of us are doing. If we didn't, we'd die. And that's breathing. We are unconsciously doing something that keeps us alive, and the entire body is functioning in a very precise manner. Blood is flowing at a certain rate and all of that. Unconscious. Imagine if all of this had become conscious. You wouldn't be able to do anything in life. You would be consciously competent, but you would just not be able to attend to the myriads of things that are going on. So God has been very kind to allow us the freedom to use our consciousness for things that are relevant, and everything else is automated. Our whole life is automated. The unfortunate part is even our habits are automated. Those can be formed. And good habits, like 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey's contribution is immense in that regard. I feel that those good habits, the motivation is, it'll become easy. Just like you gave me the example of cold baths.
Yes.
You give the command, mind has no space for negotiation. I'm doing it, period, halas. And that's it. You get into it. So making good habits is really effort in the beginning, but reward for the rest of your life.
For sure. And inshallah, we're planning to do something very shortly, like a retreat style, where you not only going to learn, you're going to feel emotions. You're going to also, very similar to, I believe you are working with the projects you guys do once a year for your School of Leadership. So very similar, but we're going to take also the firewalk, put them in the ice cold shower, and have some experience. Like, I don't know if you can get this on board with the army. Hey, let's do a freaking skydive. I've done it. And if you ask somebody, 90% people will be shitlessly feared. They're like, no, I don't want to do it. But what if you can make them do it?
Experience will introduce a new person within you.
And it's a good story to share for yourself. If you get, like I say, why do I make people walk on fire? It's not just you are walking on fire. It's a belief. It's when you look back, if I can walk on this burning coal, what the hell is this problem? I can overcome this. Dude, this is nothing.
Sure.
So it's just the programming, and keep on reminder to yourself. So, there's so many things.
You're bigger than the problem, no matter what problem that is. And frankly, if I may just say this, people ask me about growth. How do I grow and develop? I said, not by reading books, not by listening to great people. It's by taking on big problems. Problems that you thought were big, but becoming bigger than that. And then asking yourself, oh, I've committed to solving this problem, I don't know how. That's when you go and read books. That's when you go and talk to people. Otherwise, you'll just theorize and sit pretty and do nothing.
It's the same example. You want to learn to swim. Are you going to read a manual, or are you going to jump in that pool and...
Exactly. Get in there and then start asking, hey, how do I save myself?
Just don't go into the deep one. Start with the shallow.
Yes. Or have a life
vest. Like a life vest, or the kids have those floats or something. Yes. Or you holding to something. But the thing is, we cannot learn just by the books. Yes, it's a good start.
There was a company that, and I'd like us to close with that. I think they wanted to close with that.
Sure.
Close with something. There was this company that I shall not name because we're not advertising them. They haven't paid us, so why should we? And their slogan was remarkable because they came in with the business of transforming, right? Dare to dream, dare to be different, dare to fail, dare to succeed. I thought the dare was remarkable. Dare to dream, dare to succeed, dare to fail, dare to be different.
And dare to be unstoppable.
Yeah. And of course, life is unstoppable. It is unstoppable. And I'll give you a proof of that. There is something in nature which is unbreakable, it is incompressible and flexible. There is something in nature, and that's liquid. So if there is something in nature, you definitely are that. You are unbreakable. You are incompressible. You are flexible. Be aware of that. And you are eternal. Eternal are unstoppable. Because ultimately we are spiritual beings.
Having it in a human body.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Mr. Kamran, been here giving us so much insights, and it's been just remarkable for me because some of things I talk about and then you just add so much more to it. You just like when you were talking to a lot of you, sometimes people think that you're crazy, but getting a validation from you again, it's a reminder that we are on the right track.
Yes.
Keep on helping people. People might not have heard the word leadership a lot, but it's just about our habits, beliefs, who we are. First, we discover ourselves. We need to lead others. And there's so much golden nuggets you have given. Thank you for your time. Any final quick message you want to give to people? One-liner or two-liners you want to share, which can be really helpful, other than dare to dream, dare to be bold, dare to, what was the last one? Dare to be...
You know that you're the best creation of God.
You
know that you're the best creation of God. There is no doubt in your mind. Make it your responsibility to discover what is it that makes you the best creation. Take out that which is within you and bring it to the fore, because otherwise it's travesty. Knowing and not doing is ridiculous.
Wow. And one more request. A lot of people who are watching, if they want to learn more from you, how can they connect with you so they can learn from you?
Well, I have a YouTube channel.
Okay.
And in the description, you'll find my contact details.
It's right at the bottom.
And the YouTube channel is my name, Kamran Z. Rizvi.
Kamran Z. Rizvi. And if you want to learn, a golden opportunity. For me, it's been a pleasure to learn from Mr. Kamran. So if you want to learn more and you want to be truly unstoppable, go take that action, start rewiring yourself, take that first step, jump into that pool, and be unstoppable. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Take care. And I will see you all in the next episode, guys. Keep on learning, keep on growing. It's about not only learning, it's taking that first step and the second step to the, I say, unstoppable, massive action. Take care. Allah Hafiz, and see you soon.